Okay, I always start the same way. Can you please tell me how many of these typing sessions you've seen before?
Well, this was recommended to me by someone, and I attempted to watch one of them. I got about 4 minutes in, and
I
I
said,
actually
dear
found,
God, this is boring.
yeah. Well, not that I found it was boring necessarily. I don't think gave it that much time. I actually found you a little bit difficult to understand. So if I ask you to repeat yourself today, I'm really sorry
Sure, no
in
problem.
advance.
I should be less difficult to understand. Um, okay, so can you recount for me a sequence of insignificant details from your day from, I don't know, what time is it where you are right now?
It is 1 p.m.
So from when you got up this morning till now?
Sure. My alarm went off. I woke up. I opened my laptop. I usually play something. I think I was playing Downton Abbey, guilty pleasure. Um, and then I got change. I went downstairs, got a Red Bull, came back upstairs, made a tea, and then I watched something for a bit, freshened up in the bathroom, um,
Okay,
and
cool.
then
That's good.
pretty much on the call. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm checking for, cognitive function or typology wise, with that question?
I'm assuming you're checking for maybe SI?
Yeah. Okay, so, it's like there are a couple of types who it would be impossible for them to give that level of detail with such ease, certainly. And
Well, I
those
mean,
would be
it's
your.
only been a couple of hours for me, so.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Oh,
You'd
okay.
be surprised. So the thing is, even if somebody could remember some details from earlier, how they choose to delineate those to me tells me a lot. So somebody who's SI polar probably wouldn't detail more than one or two details, and even then they might say, "Well, usually I have breakfast, and well, I guess right before this I was working on meow or something." They might say it like that, right? But regardless, to check to double check a bit on this, and let's see how far. Let's see if we go back and do yesterday. Can you do all yesterday from the morning till lunchtime or something, or from when you got up till 4 hours later?
Oh, shit. I woke up really late yesterday. And um, I made a cup of tea. uh,
Do you remember what kind of tea?
yes, English breakfast.
Well,
And
fitting.
um, PG tips. Uh, yeah, and then I think, oh, yes, I was watched the final episode of The Witcher. And um, and then I was on a phone call.
Hmm.
And then I'm struggling.
Okay, fine. Did you decide where you're going to sit right now before we started on purpose for some reason? Like because you like the cleanliness of the background or because it didn't show your pile of dirty clothes or something like that?
Well, it wouldn't have mattered because my room is
Im-
fairly tidy
impeccable.
anyway.
Absolutely impeccable.
Don't say that. So no, I didn't really care too much about where I sat. I think
Do
the only
you
thing I thought about was the light, and this is the only window in my room. So
you are well lit. Do you move that thing around or is that where you usually sit at with it?
I never sit here. Really. The only reason why I did is for the camera.
Okay.
I would never normally sit here.
How comfortable is your chair?
I haven't thought about it actually. Um, yeah,
Okay.
decent.
Does it have a
I
cushion
don't
on
really
it?
care. No.
Okay. So you woke up late yesterday. Does that mean you're in the habit of going to bed late as well?
Oh yeah. I gotta go to bed maybe 4 or 5 in the morning, unless I have to get up.
What keeps you up all night? What are you doing?
Uh, I like learning things actually. So
You're wormholing in the internet? Rabbit holing, I mean?
yeah, pretty much. I do. Yeah, I study a bit. I'm not on at university at the moment. We're on a semester break, but I study computer science and English literature at university. Computer science is my minor, and I'll practice building websites. Or using Python. I have like a Raspberry Pi that I play with, and actually I have a few of them. And
You have a Raspberry Pi that you play with?
it's a little mini computer.
Oh, okay. I've never
Yeah.
heard of it before.
So yeah, it's just like a little mini computer, and I mean the opportunities are endless of what you want to make out of it. So you can create. Well, I've made like a wooden laptop. So I got like this old wooden box, and then I got the screen and a separate keyboard and everything. Had the Raspberry Pi, connected it, and soldered everything, and I gave that to the old company that I used to work for. Which is a shame. It had a little key lock and thing as well. And I also had like a little gaming console that I made. Played like Pong. I made a pool game as well, which was the first game I ever made, which was it was alright. It was average, but whatever. It's fun.
Well, aren't you tech savvy?
Yeah, I like technology.
All right, cool. So let's talk about your media consumption habits. We mentioned the period drama, as they're sometimes called, when people dress up in old-fashioned clothes and say "my lord," "my lady," and stuff. Do you like? So, if you had to choose dragons and swords over ray guns and spaceships, would you choose dragons and swords? I'm assuming.
It's funny you should ask that question. I was having this conversation with my sister. So I love sci-fi and fantasy, and so does my sister. But she's more into the sci-fi, and I'm more into the fantasy. So I'm not sure if it's. I think it's maybe the most fantasies have like a historical sort of bent to it. So maybe that's why.
Do you watch
Yeah.
any isekai anime?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you do? Okay. So, you, unfortunately, have died with a bunch of your classmates at the college, of course, together, in a tragic accident that's caused you to be reborn in a magical world of swords and dragons, and you get to pick your character class.
Ooh, cool.
So tell me, without knowing, you get all your basic character classes. There might be a couple of specialists. If you kind of want to design your own character class, you can a little bit. But give me some gist about where you're going with your new isekai life.
Well, I'd probably be a rogue. That would be my instinct. I mean, when I play games like League of Legends, I like to play jungler. So, yeah.
Is it because you love stealing things?
I like the opportunity that you get. You have more options. I don't want to be some backup bitch over in the corner, throwing healing spells out. Fuck that.
I will heal you when you are hurt.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to, I don't want to be in any position where it's the hill I'm going to die on. So I'm all about opportunity.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
Okay, interesting.
But not just like I wouldn't be like a little shitty dwarf or something if I was a rogue. If I'm thinking about D&D, actually, I usually play half elf because then you really have to use your imagination. You have to use a bit of wordplay to get weasel yourself out of situations instead of just being small and being able to pickpocket that way. No, I'd like to manipulate. It's terrible.
Do you prefer ranged weapons over hand-to-hand?
I don't have a preference. I would say that, yeah, I don't have a preference.
Okay. You're interesting already. Interesting one. Okay. So, what do you think the expression, somebody says to you, boy, I felt like an astronaut in the ocean. What do you think they meant?
that they had an out-of-body experience.
What's another
An astronaut.
possible interpretation?
Um, if they felt like an astronaut in the ocean, there's a lot of different possibilities, I suppose. Out-of-body experience, that they felt that they couldn't breathe, maybe, or that they have this, they feel grounded with depth, but maybe their body is grounded with depth, but their mind is shooting off into space. So I feel like depth, both space and the sea has a lot of pressure, but I feel like you feel it differently in your body, maybe. I've never been to space.
Okay. So let's say I were to tell you that one possible interpretation of it is you feel like a fish out of water. It's a common expression.
Yeah, of course.
Would you say that works for that astronaut in the ocean thing?
Yeah, I would.
Okay. So what if I asked you to consider the steps of the process through which, say, the 1960s American space program launched people into space and had them complete their mission and so forth? If I were to instruct you, consider the steps in doing that whole thing, and you were to take a moment to think about it, would it change your answer at all?
So we have the 1960s American space program, and I need to think about the steps in order to achieve what?
Well, an alternate interpretation based on the order of operations that the NASA space program took in launching and completing a mission.
Okay. I don't actually know much about this, so
Well, I mean, I'm not talking about details. I'm saying step 1, pick your astronauts. Step 2, shoot off the rocket. Step 3.
Okay. Yeah, okay, fine. Cool. Step 1, gather scientists from all across the globe. Step 2, have them meet and come up, brainstorm various ways to get into space. So step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Probably include the Air Force in this.
Okay, let me narrow the scope here. The mission's already been decided. The astronauts have been decided. I'm talking about the order of operations from today's launch day to welcome home, astronauts.
Oh. How many steps do you want?
5.
Okay. Astronauts get into space shuttle. Space shuttle launches. Space shuttle is in space. Ground zero tells them to come home. Astronauts come home. Fine.
Okay, where do they land?
In the ocean.
Okay. Does that change your interpretation of the saying?
Yes, a little bit. Yeah.
So what alternate interpretation does that open up?
I think, well, I visualize that as being physically different, I suppose. So you're in space, you have all of this pressure, so you're coming down, and then you land in water, and I feel like you would feel vulnerable, maybe, that you need assistance once you got back down.
Okay, interesting. So out of the frying pan into the fire.
Yeah.
Okay, so the strange thing is, I interpret it as meaning the hard part of the job's over. We can coast the rest of the way home.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
All right, cool. It's a new thing I've been asking. I'm getting some interesting responses to it.
Cool.
So I don't really know what it means yet, but there you have it.
One second. I have to get it. Okay, continue.
Okay. Oh, that thing. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying to quit smoking.
Thank you for reminding me. I'm trying to keep smoking, and if I don't get reminded occasionally, I'll forget.
I would keep smoking, except in Australia it costs $32 for a 20-pack of cigarettes.
How much is that American dollars?
That's like 21.50.
Wow, that's twice as much as American cigarettes. That's ridiculous.
Fuck that.
That's
Oh
twice.
no, America was great. I was in West Virginia, and
Oh, they're cheap there.
$3.50 for a pack of Marlboro Lights. I'm talking $32 for the cheapest piece of shit cigarettes you've ever gonna smoke in your whole life. We're just like dying afterwards.
You must go crazy at the duty-free shop when you travel overseas, huh?
So, yes. Well, I've lived in different countries, so I've only just moved back to Australia. But Australia has laws on that.
Oh, you're not British, you're Australian.
Yeah, my mum is English, Maltese. My dad is Russian, French. And
how do I always fuck that up? How do I always fuck that up? Every time I talk to an Australian person, I think they're British, even though I think I know Australia's how it's different sounding. But you must sound more British than most Australians.
I do, yeah. I lived in the UK for a long time.
All right, cool. So, have you ever heard of the game Inky Pinky before?
I think so. Is this the syllables?
Yeah.
I think I understand the concept of this game. Yeah.
Okay. Well, just to drive it home, the first example is the clue would be hilltop water spout. I'd tell you additionally this is Inky Pinky, and the answer would be mountain fountain. The answer always rhymes.
Okay.
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 So, I'll start with this one that is easy, and I usually start with. If you've heard it before, let me know though. Which is a rabbit. No, I fucked it up. Never mind. I'll do a different one. I told you part of the answer. Okay, how about... I'll tell you what. Let's just start the other way. I never do this, but since you seem to understand the concept, can you make up one for me?
An inky pinky, so 2 syllables, right?
Whatever, any. Ink pink, inky pinky, inkity pinkity, anything you want.
Sheepskin for a mean kid.
A sheepskin what?
Sheepskin for a mean kid.
Okay. A woolly bully? Oh, good.
And what about a scary spider?
I don't know. So tell me.
It's also another name for something you put in your pool to clean it.
I don't know.
A creepy crawly?
That doesn't rhyme.
Creepy crawly rhymes.
No. Creepy peepee rhymes. Creepy sneepy rhymes. Creepy leapy.
Well, no, because you have... so what you're doing is the double E, right? Is the double vowel rhyme, but creepy crawly is rhyming on the Y vowel at the end.
Okay.
Not on the double E.
Yeah, but nobody would call creepy crawly a rhyme.
Well, there's lots of poems that are technically poetic, but they don't rhyme.
Sure.
You have metrical feet.
No, I'm not disputing that. Look, there's no dispute that you use alliteration, that is to say, they both start with cr, and that they do end with the exact same vowel sound, but nevertheless don't qualify as a rhyme.
Okay, fine.
Okay, interesting. So...
what about a funny goat? How about that? See if this qualifies.
Let's see. What is
or
the word?
Or a stupid goat, if that's more helpful.
Okay.
Clumsy goat.
I mean, I'm still working on goat. I haven't even gotten to the first word yet. I'm trying to think of the word for... Probably wouldn't use that, but I can come up possibly with an alternate one that works. Goat. What's a synonym for goat? Sheep?
Maybe this is an English thing.
Sorry. I don't know. What do you call... I can't think of a single other synonym for goat except for a sciencey word for it, which I can't think of at the moment.
Well, a billy goat?
Oh, so a billy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I never would have come up with that.
Yeah, maybe that's a really stupid
It might be. It
bullshit.
might be a different dialect
English.
thing for sure. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's cool. No problem. All right, thank you. Can you tell me uh, a time when you learned a lesson from one dramatic event versus a time you learned a lesson because you made the same mistake multiple times and finally you're like, now it's stuck. I'm not going to do that again.
When I was, I don't know if this classifies as a dramatic event. When I was a kid, I'm very open with my family. And my friend, I was staying at a friend's house when we were like teenagers, and she woke me up in the middle of the night, and she said, "I'm going out," and she was. She was going out, and she was meeting up with someone who was, I think he was 21, and she was 14, so gross. And I tried to convince her not to go. Yeah, I tried to convince her not to go. She wasn't having it. And I was just like, well, I can't just like stay here and let, and know all about this. Her parents are going to freak out. So I came with her and I made them go to a friend of mine's house. And I knew that at least there would be some sort of, it's kind of safe, I suppose. Anyway, she stayed ages there. It was like dawn. I was like, let's get the fuck back. And when we got back, we like walked towards the house, and she said, "Oh, we use the excuse that we were taking a walk." 14-year-olds, and her parents obviously found out that we had gone, and she maybe promised, swear to her, that I wouldn't break and not say. So I didn't, and I lied. And the worst thing was I lied to my family as well, which I fucking hated. And I hated it. Fucking hated that. And anyway, she ended up blaming it all on me. And I was this terror for all of high school. So lesson learned, don't fucking lie. It's not good. People dick you over if you lie. So yeah. That's
As
the
soon as you
dramatic
tell a
lesson.
lie, then you got a secret. And nobody likes having a secret.
My way of getting around that is just don't say. Don't lie, don't say.
Right.
What was the next question? There was a dramatic event. What was the second one? Sorry.
That was the you
multiple
didn't learn it.
mistakes.
You didn't learn it the first time. You had to repeat the mistake several times before you learned it.
Well, it follows because it follows, sort of. Had to make the same mistake. Yeah, I guess to a less extreme level. No, that's not true. I might make a mistake. And I had to do it multiple times in order to get it right. Men? Just
I think that might be a little too broad to count. It's not really an event. It doesn't comprise single events.
I rarely make the same mistake twice.
Okay, well, let me ask you this: did you ever trust somebody twice after they screwed you over once?
Oh yeah. Yep. With
Okay.
people, I'm not very good like that. Actually, I tend to trust people. I think all people are inherently good, and I get dicked over a lot from that. And even after I get dicked over, I'm like, oh, maybe it was me.
Is it because you took their words too seriously?
I think maybe I overthought their words, maybe a little bit too much.
So it's more that you put meaning into it than that they lied to you?
Well, I don't really give a fuck if they lied to me, put it that way. Everyone's got their motivations or whatever it is, and I'm not very good at seeing what that is, so I always assume the best. right? So I'm like, it's not
And
they lied to me because they're trying to dig me over. They lied to me because of some other factor, or maybe it was me. I always usually blame myself. I fucked up.
okay, so then what if they lied to you because you can see they're embarrassed about something and are trying to cover it up, but it has nothing to do with you, but they don't want you to think less of them or whatever, so or they're just embarrassed of it, so they're trying to cover it up. Do you feel differently about those kind of lies?
No, I don't care.
Okay. So, if you were to find a long term relationship partner, how important would it be to you that they not lie to you?
I mean, the communication is, I suppose, important. Um, Maybe there's a good reason. I don't know.
For example, I'm not married.
Hmm.
I mean, what if they say that and it's a lie?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't fucking know. Uh, I don't put it this way. I wouldn't attach. Like, I wouldn't want to be with someone who is married. Just that's a complicated mess, and someone other's person's feelings are involved or whatever. But I mean, everyone's got their own fucking dark closet. I'm not going to judge that. That's got nothing to do with me. I don't want anything to do with that. You've got your own thing, whatever. And then I make my decisions separately from that. I wouldn't be like, I don't know. I wouldn't judge them necessarily for that.
Would
I don't think it's
would you
a
be
great
more
thing.
upset if they directly lied to you about it than if they just
And
remained
then I'm like,
silent, rather than they just remained silent and never mentioned it?
um, equal. I don't know. Yeah,
Okay.
it would bother me. It's very hard for me to say. I've never been in that situation before. I don't know how to fucking feel about it. Um,
Okay. What if they lied to you about being a man, and when it's finally time for you to make love, they had no penis?
oh well, I'd fuck them.
You'd be happy with the surprise? You'd just be like, well, hey, surprise today. Who knew?
Very much.
And what if they then said, I'm sorry, but I'm not a lesbian. And
I don't know.
and I'm not sexually attracted to you. What if they then said that?
It'd be really funny. That's fantastic. What a good story. I can imagine saying that to someone who's dating this person and all of this shit happened.
And then it turns out not only are they not a lesbian, but they're extremely homophobic.
Put that to the test.
Okay.
I'm not gay, but whatever.
I'm gonna tell the first part of a story. If you've heard this, and by any chance, stop me. I don't think you have, but if you have, stop me. And then I want you to finish the story, okay?
Okay.
The first part of the story goes like this. Once upon a time, a lady walked into a bowling alley with her peacock on a leash. And she walked up to the counter and said, I'd like to rent lane 5 here at the bowling alley, and I'd like to rent a pair of shoes for myself and a pair of shoes for my peacock. And the person at the counter says, well, I'm sorry, ma'am, we actually don't allow peacocks inside the bowling alley. And the lady said, but this is my service animal. You have to let him inside. And the guy said, well, okay, fine, but we still don't have any shoes for peacocks. And the lady said, stop discriminating against me. Let me speak to your manager. Now you take the story up from there.
Who am I in this scenario?
You're nobody. You're the storyteller.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right. So,
Wait, actually, can you hold that thought for a second while I refill my coffee real quick?
sure.
Hi, Kitty. What a wonderful kitty friend you are. I'm back. I'm ready to hear the second half of the story.
Okay, so the manager, he comes out, and the lady, she's really upset. She's like, this is my service animal. I just want to play bowling with my peacock. And the manager goes, pulls her in close. She leans in close. And she's like, what? He's like, don't tell anyone this. It's a big secret. But out the back, I've actually got magic shoes for peacocks. And it's been prophesized.
I'm glad there's some prophecy in the story. That's good. Go ahead.
It's a prophesize that a woman with a service animal come in requesting bowling shoes for a peacock. So I'm going to give you the magic bowling shoes. She was just like, what are you, crazy? This is my service animal. It just helps me. It's like, no, just trust me on this. Trust me on this. And so he comes out with these little shoes, and they perfectly fit the little claws or whatever. And she's like, okay, so how much? And he was like, it's 3 beans. She's just like, well, I'm fucking human. I don't have 3 fucking beans in my wallet. I don't have 3 beans. It's just like, it's got to be transactional. I'm going to have 3 beans. So she's like, well, I don't have it. He's just like, can you get them? She's like, yeah, I could probably get 3 beans. So she goes to the supermarket and she's looking around and she's just like, well, what beans? Mung beans, chickpea beans. What qualifies as a bean? Anyway, she just
black-eyed peas.
Yeah, black-eyed peas. Refried beans.
There are a lot of legumes as well. You could include in the mix, legumes and beans.
So she decides on green beans. She's like, I'm going to play it safe. And she goes back up and she passes over 3 green beans. And the manager's like, the prophecy says that it can't be green beans. And you don't fulfill the prophecy. And he's like, unfortunately, you can't bowl here because you don't feel the prophecy. And then she leaves. And hopefully, lesson learned that what the fuck
ask
was she
what
thinking?
kind of beans. No, the lesson learned is ask what kind of beans before you go to the store, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Fuck her.
The thing is, what I thought was interesting is she said that she was a human. Of course, she doesn't have beans, which seems to imply that there's some species that does carry around beans.
Yeah.
Or maybe animals in general carry around beans. Okay, so, I mean, I feel that we've got you narrowed down to probably, almost certainly, any block, but it could be 8th in theory. So let's take a look. Let's take a look, see at the old introverted thinking questions.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me what tomorrow's yesterday is in relation to today, given that today is Saturday?
Tomorrow's yesterday. So, and today is Saturday. So Monday.
Correct. If only people from Iceland like iceberg lettuce, and all people who like iceberg lettuce also like banana bread, can we conclude that if I like banana bread, I necessarily like iceberg lettuce? I mean, not necessarily from Iceland? Sorry.
So if only people from Iceland eat iceberg, like iceberg lettuce, and some people
all
who like
people.
All people who, yeah, so they're from Iceland. They like people who.
Let me repeat the question. If only people from Iceland like iceberg lettuce, and all people who like iceberg lettuce also like banana bread, then if I like banana bread, is it necessarily the case that I'm from Iceland?
Valid, yeah.
No,
So first
invalid.
premise, well, you said only people from Iceland like iceberg
Iceberg
lettuce.
lettuce.
That's
And,
premise one.
yeah,
True. Second statement.
all
If
people
all people
who
who
like iceberg lettuce
iceberg lettuce, which implies Icelanders, because
also
only
like banana
Icelanders
bread.
also like banana bread, yeah.
And I like banana bread.
And you like banana bread.
Am I necessarily from Iceland? No,
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, invalid, because the second premise can be true or false.
because, well, it may be the case that all people who like lettuce like banana bread. It's not necessarily the case that all people who like banana bread like lettuce. So, okay. That's interesting. Let me ask you this. Who's my mother's husband's wife's only son-in-law in relation to me? Assuming no bastard children ever once.
Sorry, say again.
Mother's husband's wife's only son-in-law in relation to me.
So, mother's mother would be my grandmother. You said wife.
Mother's husband's wife's only son-in-law.
Thank you. So grandmother, grandfather, grandfather. So grandmother, only son-in-law would be my father.
Correct. If A or B, then C, and not C, what can we conclude? If anything.
If
A or B, then C, and not C, what can we conclude? If anything.
A or B, not C.
No, but if A or B, then C, and
then C.
And not C.
Well, if A or B, then C, and not C. Well, it sounds like it's a continuation of a pattern. So if A or B, then C, A, B, C, and not C. So I'm not sure where we're going with that.
Let's put it in words. If I have either a cat or a dog, then I also have an iguana. And I don't have an iguana. What can we conclude?
Then you don't have a cat nor a dog.
Right. Same question. It's just in the second one I used words. Okay, fine. Interesting. All right. All right. So, talk to me about what values do you think it's most important for you to uphold in the world for your own happiness / satisfaction? As I'm going to ask it open-ended first, then I'll ask you to choose between some specific values.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Well, do you think it's more important for you to be socially graceful or kind?
They're the same thing, in a way.
Okay. That's revelatory. Let me ask you the following. Which would you rather drown if you had to? A puppy or a kitten?
Kitten.
Why?
I don't know. For the sake, I just answered the question. I don't know. Is one of them sick?
Okay. What do you think you want in life?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. What do I want out of life? What do I want out of life? To wake up, that would be a plus, I suppose.
To wake up from what?
I don't know. If I want something out of life, right? Then the premise is that I need to be alive. So waking up would mean I'm not dead. So there you go.
So, you mean, but you're not currently asleep, I would point out.
Oh well, keep breathing.
Okay, so, oh, I mean, you're saying, wait, that's what you want. You want to wake up. You mean you want to stay alive. That's what you're saying.
Well, you said out of life, and if you...
Okay, no, now I understand. No, I understand now. I understand. I thought you meant it metaphorically. You meant it literally.
Yeah, you said life.
Okay,
so obviously, then the idea is not to be dead.
Sure. So what you want out of life is to continue breathing.
Yeah, then you're alive.
Can you conceive of a time in your life when you'll say like, ugh, I've lived too much. I've accumulated too many memories and burdens of feelings and stuff, and when the time comes, I'll be ready to go? Or do you think there's never going to come that day you're always going to say, I've got lots of stuff still to do?
Oh, I feel like I've had both thoughts in my head where I'm like, you know what? If I died, I've lived a pretty good life. I've done lots of really cool stuff. But then I always have this feeling like, oh, there's so much to do. And I just so much to learn, and I just want to like absorb it all, and that I feel like if someone like turned me into a vampire, and I had to live forever, I think I'd be okay with that. And then if someone shot me, well, that would be equally okay. Yeah.
Well, what do you think is going to happen after the fact? After you're dead, what do you think is going to happen?
What do I think is going to happen?
Yeah.
What I think is going to happen is nothing.
Nothing. Wait, hold on. Have you not accepted our Lord Jesus Christ as your Savior?
I mean, in a way, I have, just in case. Okay. And just in case, there's a possibility. So, in the back of my head, just to cover all my bases.
You've got your secret, I believe, card to pull out?
Yeah.
At the end?
Yeah.
Hey, no, I believed all this whole time.
Yeah.
I believe this whole time. It says it right here on this card I have.
Exactly, yeah. Here's the my partner of 10 years, my ex-partner of 10 years, he was from not Amish, it's called Bruderhof community, and had some, oh my god, they sing songs, I should be careful about what I say here, but they sing songs, and one of the songs in the book when I visited was Black Cock Will Make You Gay. It was a kid's song.
What? Was it about a rooster or something?
Yeah, who's happy?
Happy? Oh my god. That is so fucking hilarious.
With like the koptuf thing that they're wearing, and everyone's like belting out the song.
That's spectacular. That is so beautiful. I'm so glad you told me that.
Right. And they and the thing is, in the songbook it says, if you don't sing properly, with joy, then you're sinning against God.
God's a harsh singing critic, huh?
Yeah.
The best way to elicit joy from people is to threaten them with something, God will be angry with you if you're not joyful enough.
Yeah, that's the fear is joy. Fierce, is that a word? I don't know. It is now.
What emotion do you think you're feeling right now?
Chill.
What emotion do you think I'm feeling right
now? Curious.
Or what do you think this facial expression says?
Huh?
Okay.
What?
Can you show me a facial expression of I'm disappointed in you? without using any words?
How I would use my personal face for "I'm disappointed in
No,
you," or
you're
what
an
I've seen on
actor.
TV.
You're an actor in
Oh,
a play, and you have to kind of ham it up because you're on stage. You know, it's not like you have a camera. Like stage actors to be a little bit bigger in their thing.
hmm. I think of the moment that I've seen someone else show the disappointed face. That's my.
That's pretty disappointed. Can you show me embarrassed?
Uh, that's complicated. Uh, Need to get some blush and like make my cheeks red or something.
Okay. Is bashful easier?
Bashful. Am I not similar?
I mean, the reason I think bashful is easier is
You like
because,
flush in your face?
well, I always
I don't
think
know.
of bashful from the cartoon, the Disney cartoon Bashful. I guess he's a dwarf in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, maybe. But the way he exhibits bashfulness is to toe the dirt and go like this, Oh, I'm so bashful, you know. So I think of
Fucking
him.
weirdo.
Well, he is a bit of a weirdo, but nevertheless, he's devoted his life so that we can have a textbook example of something and someone displaying bashfulness. So there's that. Um, okay, so did you recently get out of this long-term relationship?
2 years ago.
Okay. Do you consider yourself in general somebody who people don't get to walk over because you'll put your foot in their ass? Or somebody who gets walked over and wishes she had put her foot in their ass? Or something else?
Uh, I think it depends on the context.
Okay.
Um,
Do you yell at
yeah.
people?
Yeah, I can yell, but I don't like to, and I don't usually. It really, 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 really have to piss me off to make me yell. In fact, at the moment, while I'm studying, but I work as a chef and in the kitchen, and everyone's stressed and or yelling and everything like that. I'm just totally zoned out from all of that. Usually, I'm just doing my job, and I think my boss one day everyone was really stressed, and I was just like, "Ooh, whatever," and she was like, "Can you fuck off with your enthusiasm?" So, which I thought was hilarious.
Really
Yeah,
good.
but if someone like does something like really like thick, when someone's really stupid about something, like the the dishwasher, he's washing dishes and he's got lots of stuff to get through, and someone from front of house wants to like de-ice something with some water, and they come and use the dishwasher's like hose, and it's just like there's like 4 taps, you fucking wanker, like just look, like it's right there, like you want me to hold your hand and not fuck up other people's work, like I don't know. Or when I was working for a video game studio, I'd get calls at like 3 in the morning being like, "Oh my god, this thing stopped working." I was the tech. "Oh, this thing stopped working. I don't know what to do. It was this thing that magnetized, and then demagnetized. Like, it's not working. It's not working." And I was just like, "Please tell me that before you called me, you actually thought about this." And they're like, "Yeah, we thought about it." I'm like, "Because if it's the thing that I think it is, I'm going to be so angry that you call me at fucking 3 in the morning." And I was just like, "Okay, is everything plugged in?" And it wasn't. And like that sounds like something out of a fucking TV show, but I'm not even joking. Like, that's how stupid. Like, it's just people are stupid sometimes.
So
Nice.
what makes you mad at yourself?
When I show emotion, if I cry or if I yell, I feel like I failed. I feel like I feel honestly when I have when I get to that point, I have a real feeling of failure. Like And I think that's actually quite real. I feel kind of out of body, and I also feel like if you've gotten to that point, you've lost your point. You no longer can have any wiggle room. It's much better to stay calm. And if you're not calm,
And is it
yeah,
because
it doesn't
everyone's
matter
gonna
what your point is.
is it because everyone's gonna perceive you as the loser of the battle, even if the words you said were right, because you lost
No,
your emotional control?
I don't fucking care if I'm the loser. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's absolutely fine. That happens, and it's totally fine. I learn from it. It's good. For me, it's just that if I do have something good to say that I think is beneficial, not just for me, but for the other person, and I end up getting upset, then that, to me, it seems like that prioritizes it becomes something else. I don't know, and I feel like the point is no longer there, and also it's just, I don't know, it's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
Okay.
You yell at someone, you get angry, or any of that. It's fucking embarrassing. I don't like it.
Okay. What about when you're the one who failed to plug something in, and you you ended up asking somebody else, or you didn't, let's say, but then you realize after 45 minutes, oh fucking hell.
It's hilarious. Yeah, I just laugh at myself and tell everyone that I was being a fucking idiot. It's funny. This happened to me before. It happens. It's funny. Yeah, I mean, if I've fucked someone's day over it, then I'll say, I'm sorry, I was being an idiot. More than often than not, I'm the one who notices that I'm doing something really fucking stupid.
Talk to me about the difference between a team player and a fussy person, and then I'll ask it from the other perspective.
Yeah, a team player is someone who works well with other people, who reacts in their environment in a positive way, usually.
Are you a team player?
Yeah, in general. I'm more independent than not. And I mean, I can be stubborn about things for sure. But yeah, in general, I try to be. It's not always successful. I don't think that that's my best point. But I really try, actually. I really try really hard to be a team player. And I have a lot of anxiety if I'm not being a good team player, and because I don't feel like I'm always successful, even though I try. Lots of people say that I tend to be, without meaning to, like, I tend to correct people a lot. I get called Hermione or Professor or the guillotine.
You correct people a lot?
Yeah. And sometimes I'm wrong, but it's not, for me, that correction process is just working out. I'm not trying to correct them. I'm trying to also work out for myself and for whatever system is in place or whatever it is. And I tend to speak out loud, and then there are times where I think I tend to come across quite harsh, actually, like, but like, that seems fucking stupid. Explain it, know. And
you do curse a lot.
Oh yeah, I know. I have a traffic smell. That's an Australian thing. I was in a McDonald's in Amsterdam when I was living there, and I said cunt, and the security guard was like, "Oh, you have to leave," and then he was like, "Wait, are you Australian?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, it's fine." Yeah. So yeah, fussy people are.
You have to leave
annoying
because you said cunt. I mean,
I know,
does that
right?
qualify as fussiness or what?
It was midnight as well. It's not like there was a bunch of kids around. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it was at a preschool.
Yeah, fussy people are annoying, usually. I feel like they're a downer sometimes.
But give me an example of what does fussiness look like? Give me an example of fussiness.
Like, my mum can be quite fussy, and I love her to bits, and she's actually really sweet. But let's say that if I order steak, I like it medium rare or to rare. Anything above that, I don't really like. But let's say I went to a restaurant and that happened, I'd be annoyed and be like, be like, that sucks. But I wouldn't complain because, it's busy or whatever it is. I don't know. It's just, I'm not going to fucking complain. Just get on with the night.
Because you're a
But
team
my mum's
player.
the kind of person, my mom's the kind of person who would like call the waiter over and be like, oh no, this is wrong and you paid,
And that makes you, okay, yeah, of course. All right, so I mean, it's been obvious to me for quite a while what type you are. Do you know about MBTI stuff at all?
Yeah, I do. Well, I know about the cognitive functions, and I tend to see, I actually think the cognitive functions are really useful outside of like typing, so not considering typing, but I think the cognitive functions are really useful terms. So for example, if it's sunny outside and it's, I'm not very good with Fahrenheit, but it's 86 degrees and you can be like, it's warm, hot today, right? That's not accurate. It's not a specific thing. It's not the actual temperature, but it's a useful determiner. And I kind of see the cognitive functions as like useful determiners, but don't necessarily have the quantifiable element to it, but qualitatively it's very useful.
Well, let me tell you, you underestimate cognitive functions, which is fine, and I understand. But you are definitively an ENTP, and
Oh,
the reasons for
okay.
that are quantifiable, which is to say, the way you respond on the extroverted intuition tests is way more robust than anybody who's not an NE DOM, basically, maybe an NE tool user. But the thing is, note how you completely took over the inky panky thing, right?
No, sorry.
No, that's great. That's very, very revelatory of what type you are. And you did really well on the TI stuff. You understood it. You're not as practiced at it as I am, but that's to be expected. So it's like I've been doing these questions and answers for sessions for ages, and also I used to do these same sort of questions with middle school classes and high school classes, and I taught it as a classroom teacher. So I'm super practiced at them. You're a little slower than me, but your thinking is absolutely like binary. When I ask you the FI polar question, which is which would you rather drown, a puppy or a kitten? I say kitten. You say kitten. I say why? And you're like, I don't know, whatever, puppy. That's textbook FI
Well, I
polar.
was asked this question before, and I mean, I really love animals, so I was a little bit hesitant to answer because I don't want to look like an ass. But my first thought was, which one is sick? And the first time I was asked for it, but it doesn't really matter at that point,
Right.
it
Well,
doesn't matter.
I mean, the point being that you see it fundamentally as a question designed to do what it's designed to do, and you don't really realize in any meaningful sense the puppy and the kitten in your concepts. They're just objects serving a specific purpose in a narrative rather than representative of actual things. So, or an actual experience that will ever happen. You're really detached from the idea of the experience to the actual experience. And because you're an ENTP. Also, it's like you're not ultimately going to spend much time watching whatever videos I may have that may actually be of use to you because you'd much rather be talking about it than listening to me talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually have a PowerPoint presentation I did on, I don't know why I did this late at night, about cognitive functions and about how they work. And I even think I did my way of expressing them was in code. So for example, your hero function would be something that's always on, and
I
your
don't
other
use those
functions, you
metaphors.
switch on and off. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, so you switch on your other functions. I think my only thing with it being quantifiable is the way that I understood it was that's still in process. So they're
It
looking at.
is. No, it is, but it's being done here and here alone. The thing is, what you really ought to do, and you probably won't, and I understand this because you'd much rather figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
But you really got to do is watch a couple of my videos where I try to articulate cognitive function stuff in a more TI way, and at least work from there as a beginning spot. Because the thing is, I've got things narrowed down to where I've got 3 definitive skills tests that I can definitively link people to who score as being, say, blind in it or whatever. For example, TI polar people, if you ask them, who's my mother's father, they'll say family, or for example, something like that.
It's a great answer, actually. Wish I thought of that.
And literally, if you ask an SI polar person what they had for breakfast this morning, they'll say, well, usually I do the following. And you'll say, well, did you do it this morning? They say, well, usually and they'll repeat some more usuallys, and you finally, this very morning? It's conceptually foreign to them to frame things like that. So the reason it's a lot more definitive than you expect the deeper you get into it, because look, as ENTPs, we both have the same mindset, which is a fundamental engine of skepticism that includes both objective self-criticism just as much as it does external self-criticism. So just as robust as you are critiquing your own self and looking for instances of yourself being wrong so you can correct them and get continually more right, I've been that same way, except I'm 50 years old. And I've been doing that process with this cognitive function shit since I was 42. And I've been doing open source in front of everybody with a lot of critique from INTPs and with a lot of typing sessions to verify empirically the claims I'm making. So there's a lot of work here done. I know that it's not your style to pay any attention to that, or it's your style to do this, to pay this teeny much attention to it, and then sort of intuit or infer the rest. Okay.
Yeah, I like to do that.
You should give this a little bit more attention. You should
throw everything together.
You really should, though, do yourself the great service of remembering that my greatest moments in life, basically where I had growth, like moments of growth, were moments where I said, okay, I'm going to actively try to learn from this person. I'm thinking specifically of Mr. Samuelson, my mentor teacher, taught me how to be a classroom teacher because I was doing a terrible job but didn't realize it. And the second instance being when I asked an INTJ for advice about how to mix and EQ music and stuff. And that was very helpful, actually, sitting down and sort of learning from them. And the nice thing about YouTube is you don't actually have to talk to me. So you can just, you can see, go through videos at 2 times speed and sort of mentally note things.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, right. Do you also like to have captions on in addition to the audio because you can read and audio process concurrently, and then you get double sort of the impact on the learning? Yeah, it's you're definitely an ENTP. So the thing is, I would just say this: the more like learning chunk you're willing to endure, watching, if hopefully you don't get bad ones. I mean, my videos are kind of haphazard because I made like 6,000 of them, right? But if you watch the ones that are specifically fast TI NE shit, where it's me explaining fast for people who are super smart, then you can toss aside a lot of this hero other metaphor bullshit that you'll hear someplace else.
Yeah, I think that's what sort of I get stuck at. I was just like, it's I get a little bit stuck there where that's when the skepticism comes in with hero auxiliary and all of that and how it's presented and stuff like that. I think that that needs to be a little bit more robust than at least what my knowledge is of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And cognitive function is a weird thing because in almost every instance you'll be well served to search multiple sources for information and then do your own ideation and parsing because you're an ENTP. Or for a lot of any other types, really. Like, multiple sources are better than fewer, usually. In cognitive functions, it's not true. The only place that's really talking about it from an intellectually rigorous perspective is here, talking about famous people. And every place else is more or less saying, here's intuitive notions about it that we intuit without having to feel any need to make a defensible case. But I'm a professional debate coach and have been for years as well. So I know all about how to validate shit. And I take it seriously, so,
I think it's really important. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Did you think you were an ENTP coming in?
So I did do so my whole thing now is I wanted to see, experiment and see if I had different typing sessions, if I would get the same result and compare that with my own perception of myself and my family's perception. And I don't really know if I really want to get any sort of outcome out of that. I just want to sort of understand the process of that a little bit better, see how people do it, see how it relates to me. If sometimes I think to myself, oh, maybe I can switch off on camera and change up a little bit of what I'm like, but I found that really difficult to do. I just end up being very genuine anyway.
At the end of the day, we are our cognitive function stack, and to the extent that we have a really good, robust map of it, then we can do sometimes we can not be our reflexive attentional manner direction. We can do something else, but most of the time we are reflexively our attentional manners, and that's how we
Yeah.
manifest. And the thing is this: if if you want to try to cross check it and stuff, first of all, other typologists may disagree with me, but
No, they typed me the
they
same.
typed you the same. Okay, fine,
So,
cool.
so you might know her actually. Her name's Amy.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah. So, and she said to me that she typed me. She thought I would either be an ENTP. She said she thinks ENTP, possibly ESFJ, and and then we talked about it a bit more, and she tested me a bit more. Then she said ENTP, but she said I benefit from getting typed with someone who has my own cognitive functions. So that was the test here as well, and that it definitely helped a lot because she didn't do really any TI well. The TI questions she asked were just so basic, really easy for me to like rattle off. Yours were a little bit more required a little bit more.
I
Thought.
skipped the easy level because I could tell there was no point in even doing the easy level.
Okay,
So the thing is, you can
but
see,
I
but
like
you can see how we are the same, right?
yeah,
You can
yeah,
see how we
definitely.
are battling for the same external metaphysical field space because we're both our fundamental nature is to put information out there on that external metaphysical field, which is this conversation space, so to speak. But we're both FE as well, so I noted that you let me interrupt you on a couple of occasions, and that would be considered like the FE appropriate thing because of the nature of the thing. Because you hired me, and I'm telling you advice about, or I'm telling you what I'm doing my job basically. So on that ground, whereas the situation were reversed, I think I would be the one to defer and not and let you
Right.
interrupt me. And that's because we're both third slot FE. We don't want to fuck up on the FE grounds. We don't want to make a social mistake and embarrass ourselves. In fact, when other people do it on
Yeah.
TV, we cringe or leave the room because it's so like, yeah,
It
don't.
is. It's cringe. It's awful. It's awful. Or when they're like, when you have people as well who, or maybe in an interview, and the interviewer is trying so fucking hard to get something out of the person. It's like one word answers. You're just like, come on, like just this person's trying so fucking hard.
They're interviewing an ISFP who's got our dominant function as their blind spot or something like that because they just, especially, or an ISTP, either one, as I said, has the
My ex
conversational momentum of a rock. You push them over, they go fall one thing forward, and then you go, okay, I guess I have to push you again.
my ex, he was either an ISTP or an ISFP. I know that seems weird because of FI and TI, but oh my god, it was. I think he struggled with me a lot. He just more than I struggled with him. I could kind of. I wouldn't say that. I don't know how to explain this, but I could relate to him in his way of thinking, which is kind of short or brief or silent. But I think as I was trying to like pick up how, like I usually try to explain things, how they all connect, and he would be like, what does that mean now? Why did you say that at the time? Like what the fuck? Like it doesn't matter.
Look, I'm not.
Things like that.
I'm explaining things. Okay, I'm not being useful.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's just like I'm not a tool. Maybe I am.
God, your FI polar is so obvious with your periodic like flash back and forth between confidence, even a certain brazen confidence, and like this unconscious self-loathing thing you got going on, which is totally unjustified. You should have a little bit more faith in your core person, even though you're FI polar and you sometimes feel soulless.
Yeah, I do. Sometimes when people ask me how I feel about something, or like if I love a person, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes it's not that I don't like I do feel love and all of that. I just think that I don't know how to put this. I yeah, I feel love. I just sometimes I feel like it's a mechanic, or sometimes I get worried. I'm like, okay, this is just maybe infatuation. You've got different hormones and chemicals all processing in my brain. I don't really understand what. Like, I think people see the concept of love differently. I think you feel it maybe in your body.
In your body, even.
Yeah.
Wow, what do you think the feeling of sadness is in your body?
Uh, this is the topic I had to talk with Amy. Is I think I actually thought I was good at FI, and I think I confused FI with SI, because I do really feel things in my body. Like, I get really flushed. Actually, when I was a kid, um, when I was sad, and I was crying, or if I was angry, I thought I was sick, and then I would tell my mom I'm sick, and that's how that's how I experience it. It's just like my chest flushes. I feel hot.
So you tell your mom you were sick when you were feeling emotions?
Yeah,
That's so
yeah, and I
beautiful.
genuinely, and
That's so
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, and she would take me to the hospital because I was sure I was like dying or something.
But really,
I
you were
was just
just
sad.
sad? Oh, God. That's so fantastic. That's such a great example of FI polar. You know what the equivalent is for SI polar? I'll use this example to describe FI polar in the future. It's funny. But an ENTJ once told me that she was a volleyball player, and she realized that she was injured only because her opponents started hitting the ball more to the other side of her. And then she was like, "Why are they favoring that side?" And she's like, "Oh, it's because I'm injured." So that's the blind spot. It's weird, you know.
Right.
Uh,
The only other thing I have in regards to this is, uh, I don't think I'm bad at SE. I know, and I think if you're an ENTP, that's your eighth function, and
yeah, you're
I'm
not
really
bad.
good at sports
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And I don't like. I can sometimes, if I'm focused on something, everybody in the room gets ignored, and people really hate that about me. I totally switch off from other people. Just
Well, the thing about being good about SE is SE ultimately is completing stuff, doing stuff. Sports is part of SE a little bit, but it's like people way overweight athleticism, thinking that has to do with SE. It really doesn't. SE is about execution, and so SE and SI are always linked because it's about following through on specific tasks that you remembered that you have to do. Now, and the
no, I'm
reality
terrible
is,
at that.
well, right, you're not that good at that. But at the end
Well,
of
I
the
can
day,
be
at
if
the
I'm
end of the day, you
forced
get a
to.
lot of shit done. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, you end up getting a lot of shit done anyway. Like today, I removed all these. I actually made a list today for some reason because, it's like you build up this pile of tasky things you've been kind of putting off as you've been tweaking out on whatever, and then you say, "Fine, I'm gonna start it," and then you blast through a bunch of shit, right? So it's like I got the furniture moved, the carpet vacuumed, a bunch of other little things like that, and other tasks that I needed to get done today. But I don't really feel particularly satisfied by it because
No.
I just know that this is the kind of stuff that has to be done over and over again. There's no finality to it. Like I have to do the laundry right now because Rachel's not well, but
Oh, shame.
it's fine. It's a weird. She's got serotonin syndrome, which makes her
Oh,
basically like handicapped for 3 weeks because of the SSRI she's on, and it's
yeah.
it's a strange kind of weird. Like okay, normally if you've lost the ability to move your hands and feet for 3 weeks, you've lost it forever. And so there's this scary kind of SI knowing from me that says, I'll believe it when I see it, even though all the evidence I've researched, everything I read anywhere, says this is temporary and there are no lasting long term effects, and that it will take 3 weeks because of the situation. So even though everything tells me that, and I'm a good parser and a good judger of whether things are correct or not, I still am fundamentally an SI front stack person which means I have doubt fluttering in my heart until I actually
Yeah.
experience the finality of it, you know?
Damn. Yeah, I guess I actually never heard of that with serotonin syndrome, that you can lose mobility, temporary mobility. That's scary.
Yeah, it's usually, they've got a couple of other words they call it, like hypoturnasia or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But I don't remember the exact word. But then they do say like tingling in the hands and feet. Well, Rachel got it pretty bad. Like if it had been just a little bit worse, she would have needed to go to the hospital. It would have been potentially fatal. And it's been pretty disruptive for me,
Hmm.
like in the sense that I don't like having to use my feelings a lot. And and it's also really easy for me to compartmentalize. So it's like I'll see her
Yeah.
dropping something and or failing to be able to do something, and I'll feel bad, and then I'll walk away and totally forget about it 5 seconds later and be interested in something else, and then I'll feel bad about that, you know.
Oh, I can relate to that a lot.
So it's been tough for both
That's
of us. So
yeah.
anyway, I don't know why I ended up telling you that, but I did. It was related to something. But I forgot the
No,
point. I forgot the point of it. All right, so
that doesn't matter.
I'm gonna stop this recording now. Are you okay with me publishing this, or do you want me to share it with you privately?
Do you think other people would derive benefit from this video?
Absolutely, totally. This people will love this video because you're so textbook.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you didn't think I was any other type? Maybe.
No, I didn't, and I love it when, in fact, my initial gut, I try to check it out by testing this, double check with this, double check with that. When they all land right in, the textbook example category of answers, it's nice because it's like I could have predicted your answers from the very beginning, written them all down, and I would have been correct. But I don't trust my intuition, so I'm very ready to have my initial gut be wrong. Plenty of times it is. I often end up at a different place than I start at. But you're my own type, so I can smell like the competition for the same space off of you.
Right. Okay. Because yeah, Amy said that she saw a lot of FE in me, and I think I've tried really hard with that, but
It's an absolute
um,
value, absolute third spot value. We do care a lot about how others perceive us, and when I asked you about that, you first basically denied that claim and then demonstrated
yeah,
it.
yeah, probably yeah. Okay.
So yeah, all right.
Yeah. Well,
Is it,
you can publish then if you think people will derive benefit. Yeah, sure.
all right. Thank you so much. I'm stopping
Thank
recording
you.
now.